Hey there, this is Crash Boom Bang. This is my Sethless LTC. Today we are on Chapter 11. Now that we have some 3 great new units, we're going to put them to use. First, we give that earlier speedwing from Amelia to Garrick, since he uses it the best. And we are going to be really going to town with his axe rank here. He will be effectively leading the charge on the bottom left, because there's a lot of monsters over there, including the boss, which he is pretty much our best bet to take care of those, while Vanessa and Franz go take up the right side, where we need higher movement to go over there. This is the entire reason we trained up Archer as well. This is a monster map, so there's a lot of monsters. Archer, as a bishop, gets 3 times effective damage against all monsters, just at all times. So, that'll be helpful for taking out a lot of stuff. This map does have a lot of walls, and there's a door at the bottom. In particular, these enemies that are directly below our spawn in the chest room can be a little annoying because they're very hard to reach. Luckily, we have Enos with his longbow that we got last map, so he can duel that entombed over... Yeah, they're called entombed in this game. Yeah, he can duel that entombed over the course of 2 turns to kill it. The unfortunate part about Garrick here is that he has a really large amount of con. Like, he is fat. The only people who can rescue him at this point are unpromoted flyers, and we only have 1 of those, so trying to rescue drop him anywhere doesn't really work out too well. This map does have 3 chests on it, but we only really care about 1, and it's the one at the top right, because that has a secret book. That is the second and final book in the game, and yeah, we want those. It's really unfortunate that I had to give the first book to Franz just to help with the Torado kill, because I really would have liked to give both books to Vanessa instead. She does a lot more heavy-duty combat in the remaining parts of the game, but it's what you gotta do. There's also these 2 green units chilling over there, Dazzle and Larashil. Dazzle is a berserker. He's got okay stats. He's not too different from like a trained Garcia, just without much luck. But he's free. He can walk on mountains and water. He can sometimes crit stuff. He's fine. The other unit there is Larashil. She is a level 3 troubadour with D staves in Chapter 11. Suffice to say, she's bad. We won't be using her very much. If at all. I don't think I deploy her for anything. Luckily, we do not actually have to talk to these units to get them to join. They will join automatically by just beating the map as long as they're alive, and Dazla can kill all the things that come at them, so we don't have to worry about their survival. Usually. Dazla can sometimes miss because, you know, that Dazla, but he usually does okay. I believe Kyle here is the one carrying the chest keys for that secret book chest over there. So these 3 mounts will be handling the right side for the most part. This map does introduce a few new monster types. There's dogs, or mouth doogs. They're dogs. They are effectively monster myrmidons. They are very fast, very weak, very frail, very hard to hit. It makes it particularly annoying when trying to, say, one-shot them with a steel axe, which Garrick is going to be doing semi-frequently, because they don't like to get hit. There's also the return of eyeballs, which are, you know, they hit res, so it's hard to tank a lot of them, but we also have a new flying enemy type, which we'll see a bit of, gargoyles. They are effectively the wyvern equivalents of monsters. They are sort of fast, sort of strong, sort of bulky. I guess that's more like a cavalier than a wyvern. But, you know, they're tough. Luckily, Vanessa is able to double them just fine, and I think Franz will double some of the weighed down ones. But for people like, say, Kyle, they're a little tricky to deal with. Yeah, there's a gargoyle right there in the fog. There is a door in the bottom right also, which is blocking some monsters from it, but rather than having to open the door ourselves, a very convenient and kind Bonewalker will actually just open it on like turn, I think turn like 3 or 4, something like that. which will unleash all the monsters on the other side. Most of them are gargoyles and dogs and bonewalkers, but there's one promoted death goyle who is actually pretty difficult to deal with. So we'll have to be very particular about how we deal with him. Oh, and that's sea axes for Garrick. He can use that killer axe we got last map. Oh, and yeah. There's Dozla doing his thing. Sometimes he's just like that. Yeah. You can see my disbelief. I also should probably mention the fact that this map actually has fog. I didn't bring Natasha here because I'm actually pretty low on deploy slots. It's something that's easy to forget about. But Sacred Stone's mid-game it pretty much caps out at 12 slots, which is not a lot, actually. Especially when you're trying to deploy, staffers and your dancer and flyers and mounts, and you got a lot of important people coming around. Yeah, I think that boss, I can't quite remember exactly how fast he is, but I think Garrick needed the speedwing specifically to double him. Unfortunately, he has a steel sword, so his hit rates are not ideal. I didn't actually pack Garrick with any swords, so what are you gonna do? But that's what Archer is here to help with. Also, you might have noticed Joshua just chilling in the top left of this map. There are going to be some reinforcements showing up over there, and he is the perfect guy for the job. They're all zombies, so they're really easy to kill for basically anybody. But I wanted him to get the experience, so he's here for that. Maybe it would have been slightly more efficient to instead have Eirika handle those if she can one-round them, and undeploy Joshua for someone else, but this is what I'm dealing with. And yeah, there's that very helpful Bonewalker just opening the door for all his pals so they can die. I don't know. They're undead. Maybe they like death. It's like going back home. For Vanessa's paltry 10 strength, these gargoyles are relatively bulky. Meanwhile, Franz is unable to double them with a javelin, so things are not great regardless of what you're doing here. And Kyle, of course, having pretty sketchy hit rates on these dogs, too. Ultimately, it's not super great going around here. Yeah, there's that Death Goyle, and also an Archer just chilling. Dazla was able to kill his arch nemesis, at least. But yeah, now Joshua in the top left is going to grind on those zombies with an iron blade specifically, because that gives boosted weapon experience. And we do actually want him to cap out his weapon experience at A rank before he promotes. It's important. Also, shout out to Ines, missing that guy. It doesn't matter because the map is not going to end this current turn, but, Garrick here also does the obviously unreliable thing of using a steel axe on this boss because I just really want his axe rank to go up. It is pretty lenient as far as when I get his axe rank to S, but, better safe than sorry. Although, I guess this is not a very safe move. It's a safe time-wise move, With the bottom left pretty much cleared out except for those two enemies, and the top left under control, now it's all on the right side of the map to deal with things. I also do not remember what are in the other two chests in this map at all, so look it up yourselves, kids. Kyle, thankfully, can just barely clear the way for Vanessa here. Now, we obviously don't want any enemies to go and attack Larshell, so will be having to block their way. And you're really noticing how elixirs are coming in clutch here. Normally, if you were Seth, you just wouldn't die at all. You'd barely take any damage. But for units like these, Franz and Vanessa, they take a lot of damage over time. So we really need that healing on standby, especially since this game just doesn't know what a physics staff is. Franz can at least double these gargoyles when he's not weighed down by a javelin. Thankfully, we've dealt with all the ranged enemies in this area, so he doesn't need to equip one anymore. But he still doesn't 2-hit KO with his iron. And Steel Lance would weigh him down, so, you know. Vanessa, of course, being the only person in this area who can actually double the dogs at all. And also shoutouts to Kyle, not only not getting doubled by this Death Coil, but like doing a little bit of chip damage. I appreciate it. Yeah, like Tana, if she promoted right now, she would already exceed Vanessa's strength. That's how bad Vanessa's strength is. But she's just my only option. That's how it is. Yeah, I still need more X ranks, so I just do. Yeah, you're gonna see that a lot. Just doing like really stupid stuff for the X rank. Like I really went super hard on getting it as fast as I possibly could, when I really didn't need it that much. Like, I don't need it until chapter 20, really. Unfortunately, Kyle is not really well equipped to deal with that dog or Death Coil, so he's going to camp behind Vanessa and Franz while they help. Oh yeah, Vanessa didn't need to crit that guy. I was just gonna, you know, you can see like I stop like okay, I guess. I was just trying to hit twice. He didn't have to do that. But yeah, Vanessa will get these remaining kills. Joshua grinding up his sword rank too. And his level. It's always fun to see how high his level can get before he promotes, since the second hero crest still a ways off. He's got a lot of time to keep going. Yeah, that might be A swords. It probably is. He's already capped out. And that's chapter 11 done. I'll see you next time.